श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिनी व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्. Let us chant a few dhyana shlokas. The first one is invoking the grace of the Bhagavad Gita, invoked as Amba, the Divine Mother. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Krathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashaധ്യായിനീം अम्बत्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी. The second of the Dhyana Shlokas invokes the grace of Vyasacharya, who has composed the Mahabharata and the 18 Puranas. Namostu te Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullaravindayata Yena Tvaya Bharata Tailapurnaha Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha. And then three shlokas in praise of Narayana, incarnated as Sri Krishna, the Gita Charya. Prapanna parijataya totra vetraika panaye jnana mudraya krishnaya Gita duhe namaha. Sarvopanishado gavaha dogdha gopalanandanaha Partho vatsasudhir bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat. Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. The first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, titled Arjuna Vishada Yoga, which means the yoga of the despondency of Arjuna. So that chapter presented the disease called samsara, the situation of an intense psychological conflict which is very unique to the human mind. And this situation of conflict and consequent sorrow is universal. Yeah, universal regardless of the country, the religion we practice, our occupation, the age, the gender, the yuga we are in. Regardless of all this, the samsara is still very much present. Yeah, Arjuna faced it thousands of years ago. We are facing it now and then. And it will continue to happen in the future also. So, chapter 1 ended with Shoka Vigna Manasaha Arjunaha Paraya Kripaya Vishtaha, which means Arjuna sat down on the chariot, cast away his weapons, and drowned in the sea of sorrow. Yeah. What happened to him? So when he said, Hey Krishna, me ratham sthapaya senayoho ubhayoho madhye, please place the chariot in front of the armies. So I want to see who are our opponents. And when Krishna did that, then what did Arjuna see? He did not see enemies and rivals and opponents, but he saw Swajanam. These are the people I have grown up with. I'm connected to them. I care for them. Yes, so they are my people. So, Nacha Shreyo nu Pashyami. And he says, Krishna, I don't see anything auspicious, Shreyas, in fighting this Dharma Yuddha. You call it a Dharma Yuddha, but for me it is Adharma. How can I kill my own teachers and respected elders and friends, brothers, cousins, sons, grandsons? No, they do not know what they are doing, but we should be in our senses. Yeah. So this is the classic situation of raga. Raga in the Vedantic context means attachment. That notion of this is mine, that raga has led to shoka. Shoka is sorrow, not physical pain, but emotional dukkham. And when the sorrow comes to the mind, it overwhelms the buddhi and there is moha. So moha is delusion which covers up the intellect and then resulting in confusion. So we saw Arjuna's arguments. No? He says, Krishna, when we destroy the dharmis, that is the practitioners, if the people themselves are not alive, then who are going to perform rituals? And who will engage in social development? Their professions will decline. Who will protect the women, the children, the elders in the society? So will there not be Stri Dharma will collapse? Then Jati Dharma, Rashtra Dharma, Kula Dharma. What will happen to our festivals, traditions, and customs, and so on? Arjuna gave a long discourse in chapter 1. Yeah. And then he says, Nakangshe Vijayam Krishna, na Rajyam na Sukhanicha. Kim no Rajyena Govinda, kim Jivitena, Bhogair Jivitena. Of what use, Krishna, is this victory, the kingdom and the comforts when the people will not be around? Yeah. So will they not be blood-stained, whatever we enjoy? So Arjuna, we found, is in the crossroads and he is confused he is confused between dharma and adharma. What had he come to Kurukshetra for? To uphold the law and order situation. Yeah, to uphold and perform his Kshatriya dharma. But now, because of this internal conflict in the mind, he crumbles and the wave of compassion comes to his mind. In those days, soldiers were not allowed to retreat. Either you fought and won or you fought and died. So there is supposed to be a Veera Swarga, Loka for such brave warriors. Yeah. So Arjuna also does not retreat and escape and run away. But he is not able to proceed. He is stuck. And so he sits back down in the chariot and not knowing what to do. And that is a very good thing to do, when we, in the hectic pace of life, sometimes when we press the pause button and stop and pause to see and think and reflect, what do I want in life? Where did I come from? Where am I going? What is it that I really want? So these kind of pauses can sometimes bring in a divine intervention, Daivam. That is exactly what's going to happen to Arjuna in the second chapter. So this situation of human conflict is peculiar only to the human mind because of the choice of free will, isn't it? You take the example of a crow. Now, crows are beautiful creatures, but do they have a complex that they are dark complexioned? No. They don't go up to the beauty parlor and requesting for a facial, Or the lion. The lion, when it's hungry, it hunts its prey and has a guilt-free lunch. Yeah. But the human mind will think, why did I do what I did? I should not have done that. No, I should have done this. So going back and forth, the human mind is caught up in this kind of samsara. Now, none of us are going to ever face such an intense war situation as Arjuna. That's very clear. But we do face intense war-like situations in the Kurukshetra battlefield of the mind. Yeah. Then what happens in the face of crisis? It is said that whatever we are attached to, is it permanent? Yeah. So is it not a psychological crutch, a dependence? So are we prepared to lose whatever one is attached to? In other words, are we preparing ourselves for aging, for life and all its twists and turns? That is what the Bhagavad Gita is asking us to examine. Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivekaha. So, if we come across a situation, suddenly diagnosed with an illness, or there's a loss of job, or loss of status, or name, or a dear one, how are we going to handle that? So then we find that all the degrees, MBA, engineering, doctorate degrees, do they help? Not necessarily. So what helps would be really all, instead of IQ, the other Qs, EQ, AQ, RQ. Today, many companies are seeing, whether we have the emotional balance and the adversity. Are we able to face adversity and the resilience factor? Now, how do we bounce back? So, we are unable to handle such intense situations at times. And again, there is no age for that. The teenager, who did not get the promised birthday dress or the phone, goes through a crisis in the mind. Then the professional, the grihastha, the aged, the retired people, everyone, sooner or later, we come across such situations of intense conflict and emotional pain. So today, science has advanced so much. We have sent satellites to the moon and outer space, and there is AI-powered, devices and machines. But yet, unable to handle this most sophisticated machine, the human mind, this antakaranam. So, really speaking, the Kurukshetra war is not the problem. Arjuna's mind is the problem. And the world is not a problem for any of us, but the mind assumes a problem. And so, there is a book by Puja Swami Dayananda Saraswati, I am the problem, I am the solution. So chapter 1 of the Bhagavad Gita, examines the situation and presents the problem of samsara or the disease. And chapter 2 is the solution and it is the medicine. Okay. So now with that short recap, we will enter into chapter 2. Now, Arjuna, what is Arjuna going to do? No, we see that Arjuna wants to solve the problem in a very fundamental way. Now, what is the fundamental solution? See, the problem here centered on my mind is called the universal fundamental problem of ignorance. Ignorance of who I am. Now, there are some problems where the solution is external, is it not? If I'm hungry, no amount of meditation and japa will solve that problem. I have to go out and get some food. If it's cold, I have to put on warm wear. Yeah. But if there's a jigsaw puzzle, what is the solution there? The solution is within the jigsaw puzzle. And that is why the Gita is going to unfold that. How to see myself. There is something, some problem in the way I'm perceiving a situation, perceiving life, and my orientation towards life. So the Gita has a solution in terms of the way of life, and it has a vision. So now let us continue to chapter 2. Now, chapter 2 is called Sankhya Yoga, and Sankhya means knowledge. So, or Jnana Yoga. And it's a fairly long chapter, 72 verses are there, but very important chapter. Why? Because the entire Gita teachings is in chapter 2. And all the remaining chapters which follow elaborate all the verses and the teachings given in chapter 2. Yeah. It is even said that Krishna only gave first 2 chapters and the Gita is over. And the rest of the chapters were really given by Vyasacharya. We do not know. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanaha. So Vyasacharya is supposed to be the incarnation of Mahavishnu. So this second chapter has got 4 topics. Yeah. So let's see what those topics are. It can be divided into 4 sections. Yeah. And the first about 10 verses is the Sharanagati topic. So Arjuna does not escape. He cannot proceed. So what does he do? Very intelligently, he surrenders to the higher wisdom. Surrenders and is going to say, Shishyasteham Shadhimam Tvam Prapannam. Please teach me, Krishna, I am your Shishya. Okay. Then we have the teaching of the Gita begins with verse 11. And 11 is when Shankaracharya also begins the commentary, the Bhashyam. And 11 to 38. And the third topic is Karma Yoga. Now, Karma Yoga is the way of life. Yeah, how can I intelligently live the life? And finally, we have the description of the wise person. So, these are the 4 topics which we will cover. Yeah. And the second topic that we saw, this Atma Jnanam or self-knowledge. Now we may think, but what is self-knowledge? I know about me very well. I am so-and-so. This is my name. Yeah. And I belong to this religion and I practice this profession. I belong to this community. I'm a taxpayer and so on. But the Gita is not interested in our social empirical identities. So the Gita, in the vision of the Gita, you are the conscious being. The conscious being which is Sat, pure existence, which is awareness, Chit. And this Sat, Chit, Atma is the common identity across the species. So even the virus and the bacteria and amoeba is also Sat and Chit essentially. So this is the main topic of the chapter number 2. And we will now enter the verses. So now Arjuna is still feeling confused and sad. And so the first verse, Sanjay continues to narrate to the blind king Dhritarashtra in the palace in Hastinapura. And as a war reporter, because he has this power, audiovisual power, the Divya Chakshu. Now, what does Sanjaya say? Let us see. Sanjaya Uvacha. Sanjaya Uvacha. Tantatha Kripaya Vishtam. Tantatha Kripaya Vishtam. Ashrupurna Kulekshanam. Ashrupurna Kulekshanam. Vishidantamidam Vakyam. Vishidantamidam Vakyam. Uvacha Madhusudanaha. Uvacha Madhusudanaha. Tantatha Kripaya Vishtam. Ashrupurna Kulekshanam. Vishidantamidam Vakyam. Uvacha Madhusudanaha. Sanjay narrated. What did he say? Tam tatha kripaya avishtam ashru purna kulekshanam vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudanaha. So I told you there are very beautiful names we come across for Krishna and Arjuna, and Madhusudanaha is one of them. And we hear from the Puranas that how Narayana destroyed the demons Madhu and Kaitava, and hence the name Madhusudanaha. There is also a figurative meaning, that is, Madhu means honey, sweet and pleasing. So, what is really dear to all of us? It is the ego, the ahankara. Yeah, it is like Madhu. But who destroys the ahankara? Ishvara, Narayana. So, Madhusudanaha is the one who destroys the demon like ahankara. So, Madhusudanaha uvacha. So, Sri Krishna now begins to speak. Remember, in the first chapter, Arjuna went on and on and on talking and giving lot of arguments and saying that this is not a dharma yuddha, this is adharma. But now he becomes quiet. Yeah, he has ventilated out everything. So Krishna, who was patiently listening in the first chapter, now begins to talk. This is the role of a friend, So initially, when we come across somebody who is very emotionally affected, there will be no point in interfering and giving advice. It will just fall on deaf ears. Yeah. So it is a better option to be a good listener. So listening itself is a therapy. So which has worked on Arjuna. So when we patiently listen, then the mind empties its stuff out, and then one feels somewhat relieved and comforted. Is it not? So that is exactly what Krishna did in the first chapter. But now the roles are reversed. Arjuna is going to be quiet and Krishna is going to talk. So here the first verse just says that Madhusudanaha uvacha spoke these words. Idam vakyam uvacha Madhusudanaha. And to whom? Rest of the words. Tam kripaya avishta ashrupurna kulekshanam vishidantam Arjunam. So the Arjuna is the tam. Yeah, to that Arjuna who is grieving, who has collapsed, not out of fear. Sometimes in the commentaries we come across, Arjuna lacked confidence. He had some anxiety disorder and some neurosis or depression. No, Arjuna felt the intense compassion in his heart because he is a very mature and courageous warrior. Very sensitive. So, Kripaya Avishta means overwhelmed by Kripa, compassion, and Ashru Purna Kolekshana means whose eyes are filled with tears of sadness. So, Tam Tatha, and to him, Arjuna, now Krishna begins to address. Second verse. Now, we will see that Krishna has a very different tone. So Krishna is going to really lash out, and he's not going to offer any sympathy. What do our friends do when we are in distress? Good friends will say, yes, I understand your situation, your problem, never mind. Even this will pass away. I'm with you. Krishna is not going to do anything of that sort. He's going to say, get up. You have forgotten your Kshatriya dharma. This is not the way to behave. And so we are going to see very strong verses of how Krishna admonishes Arjuna. Second verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Kutastva kashmalamidam. Kutastva kashmalamidam. Vishame samupasthitam. Vishame samupasthitam. Anaryajushthamasvargyam. Anaryajushthamasvargyam. Akirtikaram Arjuna. Akirtikaram Arjuna. Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupasthitam anaryajushthamasvargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. Still we are having the Anushtup meter as we chant. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So now For the first time, Krishna is opening his mouth to speak. Now, who is Bhagavan? So there is a definition of Bhagavan as the one who has Bhaga, the sixfold Bhaga or the wealth in absolute measure. And what are they? Jnanam, Vairagyam, Viryam, Yashas, Shri, and Aishwaryam. So there is a verse from the Vishnu Purana, which is that Bhagavan is endowed with this Bhagaha or sixfold qualities. Bhagaha asya asti iti Bhagavan. So, what does Bhagavan say here? Kutaha tva kashmalam idam vishame samupastitam anarya justam asvagyam akirtikaram he Arjuna. So, the Sambodhana addresses Arjuna. Hey Arjuna, kutaha tva kashmalam idam vishame samupastitam. Vishame means at this juncture, at this time and place. That is the crucial time. The conches have been blown and everybody is ready. All eyes are turned upon you. You were waiting for this moment for years. Vishame, at this time, at this crucial time, where from did this Kashmalam enter your mind? Kashmalam means what? Despair, this conflict, this doubt, this hesitation. This Kashmalam, Putahatva Vishame Samupasthitam, where from did it enter your mind? Very strong words. And because Krishna is implying that when they were in exile, they were having, satsanga in the forest. So there, Arjuna and Krishna could have had a nice chat and, deliberated about life. But here, this is not the time to talk. This is the time for action. So Krishna is admonishing and saying, you cannot just sit back like this and hesitate. You have to act. And so get up. Now, the second line is describing that this kind of kashmalam, this kind of attitude is anarya jushtam, asvargyam, akirtikaram. 3 adjectives. Let us look at it one by one. Anarya jushtam means this kind of behavior is not appropriate for an Arya. Arya is not a race, but it is a mindset. Arya means the one who has Arjavam. In fact, here the Sambodhana is Arjuna. So who is Arjuna? The one who has Arjavam. Arjavam means alignment in thought, word, and action. What I think is what I say is what I do. Integrated person is Arjavam, the integrity. But here he says this kind of conflict in your mind is anarya jushtam. It is not in keeping with the Arya disposition. Why are you split in this way? You had come here with a purpose. And why are you not acting in keeping with the Kshatriya Dharma? This is anarya jushtam. Yeah? Very beautiful word, Arya. Then Asvargyam. Asvargyam means this kind of attitude will not take you to Svargaloka. So what Krishna is saying is that Arjuna seems to be thinking that if he did not fight the war, he will go to Svarga. So now Krishna is denying that and saying, no, if you sit back like this, if you neglect your duty, then you will not go to Svarga. Asvargyam. Okay? So how Krishna reverses the whole thing. What is dharma, but Arjuna saw it as adharma. And now he says, this is asvargyam. And what else? Akirtikaram. Kirti means fame. So Krishna is warning Arjuna that this attitude of wanting to escape and hesitating will not bring you any fame. Rather, it will defame you. Yeah, so all the people are going to make fun of you and they're going to, gossip and say, oh, do you know that Arjuna? He is that brave, courageous Arjuna. He just fled the scene and he retreated. And that's going to be the breaking news next morning. Do you want to be made fun of? And how can you let down your brothers? They will all be disappointed. You are one of the 5 crown princes, and you cannot retreat like this. Hmm? And so, with these strong words, Krishna is implying Arjuna that he cannot afford to be, to run away from the battle and to escape. Yeah, he has no choice. So basically, can you see the connection, the relevance of the situation is to the duty? Yeah. Some people ask this question. Oh, I'm asked this in foreign countries. No, your Bhagavad Gita advocates war. Krishna is advocating war and violence. And we say no. This is allegorical for the internal psychological war in the mind. Yeah. And that upholding the Kshatriya Dharma stands for duty, performance of one's Swadharma. Now, performing one's Swadharma is not a choice. What has to be done at a time and place by me has to be done. That is the divine plan, and that is the order of Ishvara. So, all this is going to come in the later chapters. And here, Krishna is simply, trying to lift up Arjuna. At least he has to stand up, no, on the chariot. He's still sitting at the base of the chariot. And this continues now. Let's see the third verse. Klaibyam masmagamah partha. Klaibyam masmagamah partha. Naitatvayupapadyate. Naitatvayupapadyate. Kshudram hridaya daurbalyam. Kshudram hridaya daurbalyam. Tyaktvotishtha parantapa. Tyaktvotishtha parantapa. What does Krishna say here? Klaipyam ma sma gamaha. He Partha, na etat tvayi upapadyate. Kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktva uttishta he parantapa. So 2 sambodhanas are used here to address Arjuna. One is He Partha. Arjuna is Partha because he's a son of Pritha. Another name for Kunti. Then Parantapa. Parantapa means Paran Shatrun Tapayati Yaha Saha Parantapa. The one who scorches his enemies. Yeah. Arjuna was so famous as Dhananjaya. No, people just had to hear his name and they would readily surrender the kingdom. So you are so courageous, so mature, so sensitive. What has happened to you, Arjuna? That is the tone with which Krishna is talking now. So now, here Krishna says, Klaipyam ma sma gamaha. Now, Klaipyam means klibasya bhavaha. Now, who is a kliba? Kliba is a eunuch. Eunuch is a napunsaka. So, it's kind of a word that can be very insulting for a man. So, neither male nor female, why are you acting like a eunuch? In those days, the eunuchs were seen as a problem in the society because they did not fit anywhere. Today, it's recognized, I think, as transgender is another third gender, but not in those times. So, Klaipya ma smaga maha he partha. Do not yield to unmanliness. Do not show Klaipyam, Arjuna. Na etat tvai upapadyate. This does not befit you. You are an Arya. You have to uphold your dharma. Yeah, and you are so skilled. You have disciplines. You're competent. So get up and do not show this weakness of the heart. Shudram. Shudram means very lowly, pathetic, self-pity. Don't have the self-piti. And hridaya daurbalyam is weakness of the heart. Weakness of the heart, tyaktva, abandon it, give it up. Uttishta he parantapa. Remember the famous lines popularized by Swami Vivekananda? Uttishtata jagrata varan prapya nibodhata. Get up, arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is reached. Yeah. But here, Krishna is saying something similar, but first he says, you get up. Get up, at least physically, and then he's trying to infuse that, some rajas in the mind of Arjuna, which is overwhelmed with tamas. Don't we know this condition? When tamas fills the mind, then we just sit and continue brooding. We can't even move. So that is a state of like a depressed state, closed mind. And then we need rajas to heat it up. So Krishna is using strong words like Klaibyam and so on, Uttishta, to infuse that rajas in Arjuna's mind. Next verse, number 4. Now, Arjuna is going to make one final attempt to defend his situation. Like we also do, no? But you don't understand my situation. It's really hard. It's really tough. So somewhat similar, Arjuna is going to try in the 4th verse. Arjuna uvacha, Arjuna uvacha, katham bhishmamaham sankhe, katham bhishmamaham sankhe, dronancha madhusudana, dronancha madhusudana, ishubhiv pratiyotsyami, ishubhiv pratiyotsyami, Pujarhavari Sudana, Pujaharvari Sudana. Katham Bhishmam Aham Sankhye Dronam Cha Madhusudana. Ishbhihi Pratiyotsyami Pujarhau Arisudana. So look at the 2 Sambodhanas here for Krishna. One Madhusudana we've already seen, destroyer of Madhu, the demon. And Arisudana is also the destroyer of Ari. Ari means enemy. Now, Arjuna is implying, oh Krishna, it's all fine for you. You keep destroying demons. But I have to destroy my teachers and my well-wishers. It's not the same situation. So, Katham Bhishmam Aham Sankhye. Sankhye here means in the Rane, Yuddhe, in this battle, Sankhye, how can I, O Madhusudana, Arisudana, kill Bhishma and Drona? See, these are the 2 main elders that are causing a conflict in Arjuna's mind. Both of them are like gurus, yeah? So gurus have taught him values and warfare and archery and all these years in the palace. And now the time has come, they are faced with this situation, which is unbearable for Arjuna. So he says, Ishubhihi. Ishu means arrow. So with arrows, Pratiyotsyami Katham. Can you imagine my situation? How can I aim and target my own gurus and elders with arrows? That's not fair, Krishna, because they are Pujarhau. Pujarhau means they are deserving of puja. I should be offering flowers at their feet and not arrows. So that is the conflict. Yeah. And you know the story about how Bhishma and Drona and Kripa, all these stalwarts, they are supporting the evil Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra. Why? Because they have pledged to support whoever rules Hastinapura. But their hearts are really with the Pandavas. So Arjuna is aware of all this. That is a side of adharma. But at the same time, you see how that raga, that psychological dependence is causing the conflict in Arjuna's mind. That raga leading to shoka and to moha. And he says that these gurus, they are very powerful, they are respectful, they are worthy of worship. And I am not able to shoot my arrows at them. Then, now we continue. Now, you can already see that, Arjuna's mind has opened a little bit. It is not fully closed because Krishna is making dents on the mind, with his powerful words. Now, let us see what happens in 5th shloka. Now here with the meter changes, in the Bhagavad Gita, whenever the meter changes, that means it's a dramatic thing. Something dramatic is happening. Yeah. Some drama is going to come or something very important, a message. So these shlokas would be in Trishtup meter. Trishtup meter means the long verses, and let us see how we chant those. गुरून् हत्वा हि महानुभावान् गुरून् हत्वा हि महानुभावान् श्रेयो भोक्तुं भैक्ष्यमपीह लोके श्रेयो भोक्तुं भैक्ष्यमपीह लोके हत्वार्थकामांस्तु गुरूनिहैव हत्वार्थकामांस्तु गुरूनिहैव भुञ्जीय भोगान् रुधिरप्रदिग्धान् भुञ्जीय भोगान् रुधिरप्रदिग्धान्. Now Arjuna is presenting his case very well. He's got very strong arguments, but we know that Krishna is not going to accept any of the arguments. Krishna is relentless throughout the Gita. Keep saying Uttishta, Uttishta, Uttishta until the 18th chapter. He's not going to give in. No, Sarvajnaha Paramatma, Krishna. So here, what does Arjuna say? Gurun ahatva hi mahanubhavan shreyah bhoktum bhaikshyam api iha loke. Hatva arthakaman tu gurun ihaiva Bhunjiya Bhogan Rudira Pradigdhan. Now Arjuna's mind is going where? Towards sannyasa. Yeah, so Arjuna has heard there are these 4 pursuits, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and he's very well brought up with values and attitudes and dharma and traditions, and he knows that there is an option for total renunciation. Yeah, and they are called the sadhus and the renunciates. We see millions of them in this Mahakumbh. Many sadhus come out of their, secret places only during such festivals. So these are the renunciates, the mystics, and they live on bhiksha. Yeah, because they are not interested in dharma, artha, and kama. They don't want punyam, and they are not after material prosperity or pleasure. So they have chosen the life of renunciation, and they want only Ishvara in terms of knowledge, and they are the renunciates or the sannyasis. Yeah. So here in the first line, Arjuna says, Gurun, these gurus, Bhishma and Drona, they are Mahanubhavas. Mahanubhavas means very great, exalted teachers, respectful. These guruns, ahatva. Yeah, ahatva means not destroying them with my arrows. It is better, Shreyaha. Krishna, is it not better? It is better that one becomes a renunciate and goes around collecting bhiksha. You all know bhiksha, no? Bhiksha is what grahasthas would offer, annadanam, to brahmacharis and sadhus. See, brahmacharis are the students who stay in a gurukulam with their guru and learn all these teachings. They are not earning, they don't have any source of wealth, and sadhus also don't. So both of them have a right and are entitled to bhiksha. So here Arjuna says Shreyaha. Shreyaha means better. It is better to enjoy bhiksha. That is what is Arjuna implying, that no war, I will retreat, go back to the forest and I will just sit under a tree, and whoever offers me bhiksha, I'm happy to receive that. That is his mindset now. Then second line it says, Hatva arthakamantu gurun ihaiva bhunchiya bhogan rudira pradigdhan. On the other hand, killing our worshipful gurus and elders, what will happen? Will we not enjoy blood-stained pleasures? See, all the artha and the kama that we will gain by fighting this war, yeah, but they will be blood-stained in the sense that I will be haunted. Yeah, the memory of Bhishma and Drona, who will not, if they're not around, how can I enjoy such a victory? How can I enjoy such a kingdom and comforts? No, no, no. I would rather retreat, go to the forest, and this is an option provided, and I'm willing to be a sannyasi and live on bhiksha. Yeah. So this question, in Arjuna's mind, that why should I be pushed into this war situation? Is there not an option to retreat and take up sannyasa, the path of renunciation? So in Arjuna's mind, there is a romanticism. So he is playing with this thought that this would be more peaceful to simply retreat and live peacefully. But Krishna knows that it is just a thought in Arjuna's mind. It is not likely to succeed because Arjuna's mindset is not at all suited for sannyasa, renunciation. Yeah? Renunciation means one should have viveka, nitya, anitya, vastu viveka, vairagyam, a certain healthy distancing, dispassion towards the world. But Arjuna, supposing, hypothetically, let's assume he went to the forest, then his mind will again think of Duryodhana and he will say, oh, I should have taken revenge. And he will be most unhappy, and there will be the inner bitterness and resentment will not be solved because it has not been naturally processed. And hence, the Bhagavad Gita is showing the path of performing one's duty to purify this antakaranam and prepare oneself for the sannyasa. Yeah. So that renunciation has to come from inner mature mind that is steady and pure. And Krishna does not see that yet in Arjuna. So he is never going to allow Arjuna to take up sannyasa for this reason. Okay. Let's go to the next shloka. And Arjuna continues in this manner. One more shloka, I think he continues. न चैतद्विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयः न चैतद्विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयः यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः तेव स्थिताः प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः Teva stitha pramuke dhartarashtraha. Again, Krishna meter, you can see the long verse. So here, Arjuna expresses his confusion and he's a little stubborn, Arjuna, and he does not give up because he thinks somehow he can convince Krishna and then Krishna will listen to his arguments. No. Na cha etat vidmaha katarat naha gariyaha. यत् वा जयेम यदि वा नः जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः ते अवस्थिताः प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः. Remember in chapter 1 also Arjuna said it would be better if we do not retaliate, if we are unarmed and they kill us. Something similar here. He says, Krishna, we do not know which of the two is better. Yeah, whether they win over us or we win over them. Yeah, but ultimately, Krishna, there are no winners. You see the two world wars, how it shattered and devastated everything. So there is only loss everywhere. There is no winner in a war. And Arjuna knows that. So he says that, expresses that logic. Whether we should conquer them or they should win over us, we do not know. And Dhartarashtraha means the sons of Dhritarashtra, the blind king, the 100 of them. And they are facing us. They are facing us. And when we destroy them, Krishna, we will not feel like living. Na jiji vishamaha. Hatva, yaneva hatva, killing whom, killing them, we will not feel like living. That guilt and that sorrow will continue in our hearts. It seems like very cogent, the arguments, yeah. But Krishna is going to point out that all these arguments are prompted by what? Raga. Yeah. So a person who has been trained in warfare and to uphold the law and order situation, yeah, cannot afford to have this emotional breakdown at the crucial moment. So this Krishna sees clearly the weakness of Arjuna's mind, not being able to perform his duty. And so Arjuna now what happens is a very important mantra. The next mantra is called Sharanagati mantra. Now you see how Arjuna's mind has begun to change. Yeah, it is shifting. It is not anymore closed. So now in the next shloka, very famous shloka number 7, Arjuna is going to ask for help. Puja Swamiji often says, intelligent living is to seek help, prayerful living. If we feel stuck and helpless, we have to ask. And especially the disease of samsara, we cannot solve it independently. Yeah. So without the Guru's grace, I cannot figure out the solution to this inner conflict in the mind. So just like I cannot see my own eyes unless I see in a mirror, so too the Shastras, like the mirror, is held by the Guru, and the Guru corrects that inner vision, the vision which is defective, which is based on this raga and causing shoka and moha. Let's look at this important verse number 7. Again, Trishtup meter. कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यानिश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे यच्छ्रेयस्यानिश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम् शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम् कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः. Long words, these are called samasa in Sanskritam. Very beautiful words. Karpanya doshena upahata svabhavaha, which means Arjuna is defining himself. He says, my svabhava Krishna is upahata. Upahata means attacked and destroyed by what? Karpanya dosha. What is karpanya? Karpanya means kripanasya bhava, which is miserliness. Yeah. Miserliness in the sense weakness. The weakness of the heart. I am overwhelmed, Krishna. And so being a karpanya dosho pahata svabhava pritchami. I am asking now. So now Arjuna is not telling, but asking. Pritchami, tvam, you. And I am also what? Dharma sammuda chetaha. Dharma sammuda chetaha means one whose chetas, the mind, is confused between dharma and adharma. Deluded. I am deluded by this tamoguna. I am a dharma sammuda chetaha. What is it that Arjuna asks? Yat shreyas syat nishchitam bruhi. Tat me. Now this beautiful word shreyas, where have we heard it before? Some of you know. Shreyascha preyascha. Kathopanishad. No, in Kathopanishad, you see a seeker, young Nachiketa, 8 years old, approaches Yamadharmaraja and asks for this self-knowledge. Yeah, self-knowledge. And initially Yama declines. And then he says, no, beta, you go for Artha Kama Dharma. I will help you. But don't ask for moksha. You're asking for moksha and Nachiketa says, no. Then Yama introduces the two terms and says, all that we pursue in life that is finite and temporary, even if it is punyam, it is for a later situation, will come under what? Prayas. Prayas is the pleasant path of worldly material prosperity and happiness and pleasure. Whereas Shreyo Margaha, Shreyas is Moksha Marga. Shreyas is Atma Jnanam. It is the good path. It is the path of renunciation, path of discipline, and so on. Yama explains to Nachiketa. And that word is being used here by Arjuna. He must have heard stories on Kathopanishad. So, Yat Shreyas Yat, that which is Shreyas, the ultimate good, Nishchitam, which is truly better, which is definitely the better option. Tam Bruhi Tatme. You tell me that. So you see, now he's asking Arjuna, and that's a major shift in the mind. So he says, Tan, you tell me that. And what else does Arjuna say? Shishyaha te aham shadhi mam tvam prapannam. I am your student. I am your shishyaha. Very important word, shishyaha. Then shadhi mam. Shadhi means teach. You teach me. And tvam prapannam. I have surrendered unto you. There are various kinds of students, is it not? Students who enroll for a university course, students who live in a gurukulam and who do short-term courses and learn something. But a shishya is different. Shishya means the one who is shasana yogya, the one who is fit and qualified to be taught. So who is a qualified student for the teachings of Gita? Really speaking, the one who has the spiritual hunger, who has experienced this emotional pain and who is seeking to solve it in a fundamental, permanent way, not superficially. Some problems in life, we change cities, we change hairstyles, we change relationships, or some people even take drugs, alcohol, so many ways to be distracted from the problem. But Arjuna wants to solve it fundamentally from the root. And the root cause of samsara is avidya, ignorance. So he's asking for the knowledge. And for that, he surrenders. He says, earlier I gave you the chariot and the reins and the horses, Krishna. Now I'm giving you my mind. So he says, my mind is yours. So you see how difficult it is to be a shishya. We all want the knowledge. But are we willing to have an open mind? Are we committed students? When it is time for the Zoom session, are we ready to log in? And not make excuses. Guests have come, I have to do this, I have to do that. Then even the knowledge will be part-time. Yeah. So here Arjuna says, no, I'm willing to listen. I'm your shishya. The ball is in your court. Now it is up to you. And in the olden days, just because somebody says I'm your shishya does not mean he will be taught. The gurus are very intelligent. They will first see, is the student qualified to receive the highest knowledge? That is why Yama refused to give Nachiketa the knowledge. Then when Yama tempted Nachiketa and found him a fit student, then he gives him the knowledge. So here also, Arjuna prays that, Shadi Mam, you please teach me Krishna, and I am willing to be your student. Yeah. And fortunately for us, Krishna teaches. And we have the Bhagavad Gita. So this is a very important verse, and it is said that those who are still seeking a guru can chant this verse. So this is called the Sharanagati verse, which is that, the guru opens our minds to the higher wisdom. The guru is the only one who is going to unlock the Shastras and hold up the mirror in which it will be revealed my true nature. Yeah. But the guru is not going to appear in our life until the shishya is born. Hmm? So when I'm ready to be a Shishya, I really want the answers to all these questions in life about life and death and purpose of life, and just not just curiosity, but real spiritual hunger is there. Then the universe supplies the guru. Yeah, the guru may have been in our own family or in the neighborhood or in the same city, but because that connection has not happened, the surrender has not happened, the guru will also not appear. Many people say, oh, there, we want to learn, but there are no gurus in Kali Yuga. Not true. Gurus are there, and it's a cosmic rule that when the mind is longs for this vision, for this knowledge, definitely, the gods or whoever Ishvara connects one to the guru who will open up the path for us. No? And so Krishna was perhaps waiting for this moment for Arjuna to ask to be taught so that we can have the Bhagavad Gita. Now, we saw that earlier, the Dhyana Shloka, no? Sarvopanishado gavaha dogdha Gitamritam duha. So, if all the Upanishad and the Shastras are cows, then the milk, is the milk of the wisdom. And Arjuna is like the calf. The mother cow will always yield milk for the sake of the calf, which will drink a little bit, and the rest is given away. So here also Arjuna gets the wisdom, from Krishna, and we are the Sudhihi Bhoktas. So we are enjoying over the shoulders of Arjuna. Next verse, number 8. These are all very important shlokas. And here also is in the Trishtup meter. Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyat, nahi prapashyami mamapanudyat, yachokamuchoshanam indriyanam, yachokamuchoshanam indriyanam, avapya bhumavasapatnamriddham, avapya bhumavasapatnamriddham, rajyam suranamapi chadhipatyam, rajyam suranamapi chadhipatyam. Now, Arjuna says, Nahi prapashyami mama apanudyat yat shokam uchoshanam indriyanam. Krishna, I do not see, anything that will remove the sorrow which has clouded my mind and which is drying up the senses. Avapya bhumau asapatna vriddham rajyam suranamapi cha adhipatyam. Even if I were to get a huge, kingdom, unrivaled kingdom on earth, and if you make me the king of all the suras, the heavenly communities, even then, I think the sorrow will remain. The sorrow that is, affecting my mind and which has dried up my senses. So he is expressing his anguish, Arjuna. Okay. Now let us see the next one or two verses and then we'll conclude. So then, what is the next verse? Now, Arjuna has finished what he had to say and becomes quiet, and Sanjay narrates further the events to Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya uvacha eva muktva hrishikesham gudakeshah parantapa nayotsya iti govindam uktva tushnim babhuvaha एवमुक्त्वा ऋषिकेशं गुडाकेशः परन्तप नयोत्स्य इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः. Have you noticed the meter has changed back to Anushtup? Yeah, the simple meter. And here Sanjay narrates and says, Evam Uktva, having thus said, Rishikesham to Krishna, that Gudakesha is Arjuna, or Parantapaha, what did he say? Na yotsye iti. I will not fight. So, now Arjuna wants to listen and not fight. So he says, give me the teachings, Krishna, because I'm not able to get up and fight. Na yotsye iti Govindam uktva tushnim babhuva ha. And he becomes quiet. Yeah, having spoken, he becomes quiet because Arjuna wants, Krishna to teach him. Yeah, so, and has asked for Shreyas. No? So now, the last verse for today. तमुवाच ऋषिकेशः तमुवाच ऋषिकेशः प्रहसन्निव भारत प्रहसन्निव भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये विषीदन्तमिदं वचः तम् उवाच ऋषिकेशः प्रहसन् इव भारत सेनयोः उभयोः मध्ये विषीदन्तम् इदं वचः. Who is narrating? Same, Sanjay. So Sanjay now is addressing the blind king as Bharata. We saw this word earlier. Bharata is the one who is born in the Bharata Vamsha, the lineage of Bharata. So that's why we are all Bharatiyas, descendants of that race. But here Sanjay addresses the blind king as Hey Bharata. Then you know what happened? Tam uvacha Rishikeshaha Prahasan. Now Krishna is smiling, Prahasan, and seems to be happy. And he spoke to the grieving Arjuna in the midst of the two armies, Senayoho Ubhayoho Madhye, to the grieving Arjuna. And now we find that the 10 verses, which is the first topic of the chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga, is over. Yeah, is over, and that symbolized what? The Sharanagati of Arjuna. How? Overcome by compassion and in anguish, Arjuna just surrenders. Yeah. And we also find that sometimes we are in such a situation that we're not able to find a solution. Yeah. So then we just reach out and pray, and we become silent. No? And in that pause, it is like inviting Daivam, the divine intervention for help. And Swamiji says that is intelligent living. So now the 11th verse, as you know, is where the Gita teaching really begins. And from this verse onwards, Adi Shankaracharya has started his bhashyam or commentary. We will just read the verse and then stop. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashocyanan Vashocasvam Prajnavadanscha Bhashase Gatasunagatasungscha Nanushocanti Panditaha. So here, this chapter 2 may be a little tough for beginners because in the verse 11, directly Krishna gives the highest wisdom to everyone. And what does Krishna say? There is no such thing as legitimate grief. So if you are grieving, if there is sorrow in the mind, that means we are unwise. Only the wise people are free from sorrow. Now, for that, we need to have a whole vision and a way of life, and which is going to be unfolded in the Bhagavad Gita. So, Bhagavad Gita is a solution to this disease of samsara. It's like a medicine, and which solves the fundamental problem in the mind. So, if it is asked, what is the magic that Bhagavad Gita will do for all of us? Then I remember one student, once she said, Amma, I have been studying Bhagavad Gita for 10 years. Yeah. And for the past 10 years, and they were perhaps the best years of all my 75 years. Yeah. Because my family tells me that I am free from insecurity, anxiety, blame gaming, complaining nature, all these in my nature, stress. I don't get stressed anymore. Yeah. All these. And this lady was very wealthy, very talented, highly placed, educated, everything. But this Shastra adds that dimension of being anchored or being peaceful and contented because there is a way of life and a vision in the Gita. So I told her, yes, all the credit goes to Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, and the teachers are just instruments. So we find Bhagavad Gita unfolds this way of life and a whole vision. The vision is that you are the Shreyas you're asking for. Shreyas is moksha, and moksha is you. And gaining that self knowledge is to win the Kurukshetra battle in the mind. Yeah. And that is going to happen only, the condition is when we let Bhagavan be our charioteer. In the next class, I will explain the chariot analogy in more detail. But for now, it's like we are all Arjuna seated in the chariot-like body, and the pure mind, the intellect, is Krishna. And when we hand over the reins to the higher wisdom, to Ishvara, then we are guided along the Shreyo Margaha, which gives us the vision. The vision of Gita is Tattvam Asi, that you are indeed the nature of fullness and peace and pure existence. Okay? Om Tat Sat. So we will stop here and conclude. Om. नमः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ